Quick disclaimer, there will be a cut in a second because she was just standing there for 2 minutes while I was putting stuff away, but I thought it would be really cute to see how she comes into frame. The purpose of this session is to show what movement training you can do in limited space. When it's raining and I want to stay dry, this is the only space where I can train because we don't have an indoor arena. Disclaimer right there, she was pretty close with her head to the ceiling. I usually try to not encourage it any further, but there are a couple of instances where I do. But be careful if you do something like this. Quix has pretty good body awareness, but still. So what I like to do here was to ask her to go backwards. This is because it's usually a slow gait, so that works pretty well for enclosed spaces. Panther walk also, and I think that was really cute how she pawed at that branch. I love this next part because usually when we do panther walk, she follows right beside me. But in this instance, my body wasn't her primary focus but the pool noodle, and she was okay to be a bit in front of me, which is really cool. Tight turns like this are also great to practice in small enclosures. The cool thing about this space setup is that we have the column to walk around, and then we also have a bit of a wider space, but with walls around, and you can barely see it, but behind that baling twine there is like a small chute that is only as wide as one horse. The space gives her a lot of constraints. Crunches, of course, are great exercise to do in small spaces. Okay, so this is where the magic begins, because we start to move around the column. So this for once is a movement puzzle because she has to bend to get to me, but also she has to figure out which way to take so that she can get to me. So it's also a great game for her mind. When I realized this opportunity, I started to actively use it by just going around really quickly so that she had to figure it out herself. I also really like to challenge her to go into higher gaits when she's in a small space. But for this, the horse already has to have some good spatial awareness and coordination. This one is also really fun because a lot of horses can benefit from being on a pedestal or some sort of edge like this when practicing the crunches. Because it's harder to step backwards on an edge like this, they kind of start to get the leaning into the crunch better if they at least have a start of a crunch already. Ooh, I like this. Very nice and controlled. In this situation, I immediately decided to use the environment again to practice our backup in a narrow space. Quix did that really well. I think she's pretty good with figuring out spaces. I've seen horses that just stand in front of a fence and don't realize that they can go around. But she stands there, takes a moment, and then she figures it out. I did not expect that tight turn. And then she also elegantly moves around the column. I think it's funny how when she was in the tight space, she was offering all these rears. And when I was asking her outside, she was like, nah. You can see how she has to think about where to put her feet and to step sideways a bit, otherwise she would walk into the column. Nice gait transition here where she goes from quickly moving around the column to a slow panther walk. And treats on the ground to finish the session.